feel very strongly about the importance of supporting the freedom and supporting and fighting for equality among all people, and that all people be treated equally.
Thank you for the question. First of all, we don't have any such legislation here in Ghana. A bill has been proposed to the Parliament of Ghana, which has all kinds of ramifications, which is now being considered by the Parliament. And I have no doubt that the Parliament of Ghana will show, as it's done in the past, first of all, its sensitivity to human rights issues, as well as to the feelings of our population, and will come out with a responsible response to the proposed. The legislation was a legislation that is being provided as a private member's bill. This is not an official legislation of the government. First of all, it raises the very real possibility, which is one that we need all of us on the region and the continent to be aware of, that once again, our continent is going to become the playground for great power conflict. We want to be in a position to resolve our own security problems ourselves, as much as possible without the intervention of foreign troops.
Well, I mean, that interaction between the Vice President of the U.S., Kamala Harris, and our President Akufo-Addo, it garnered a lot of reaction. It is still garnering a lot of reaction now. The press conference was to answer, different questions, and of course, the issue of LGBTQ plus came up. Kamala Harris responded as we watched, and the president also weighed in on the discussion. Afi, I'm starting with you. You're a guest this evening. Do you think what the president had to say was, shall I say, palatable enough for Ghanaians? Because the reaction was that, well, that's not really how the masses feel, or that's not the general consensus or sentiment. Do you agree with that? Do you think he should have responded in a different way, or was that fine?
I feel he should have just gone straight to the point. We Ghanaians are not, for that, So if they want to help us, they should help us, not because we want to be on it or not. Just straightforward, and that will be it.
Yeah, I think there's a level of sort of the president understands diplomacy, right? Politics
And
is a
being
very,
nice.
Different, dirty, very different game that a lot of us don't understand the rules, and sometimes some of the words that are used are just basically for, political purposes, not necessarily because he believes in it, but also he knows that he may have to play the game to be able to get what he wants.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's safe to say as well that it's not every Ghanaian that does not believe that persons who identify as LGBTQ plus don't deserve rights. I'm one of such people. I think once you're a Ghanaian, you haven't broken any laws, you are not hurting anybody, whatever you're doing doesn't affect me. It involves two consenting adults. Personally, I don't think your rights should be taken away from you.
I think the fear is that when they allow it, it will be a lot.
But what rights are you talking about? Are you talking about the rights to education, to healthcare?
Yeah.
I don't think that's the rights that we're specifically...
So I think it's strictly by way of law. In Ghana, the law criminalizes carnal knowledge, right? So until I have come to your bedroom and I have seen
it with your own eyes.
Seen you in the act, that is what is criminalized, right? So if today I'm sitting here on the ladies' circle and I'm making a case that we respect everybody, irrespective of their
choices,
their sexual leanings, if you will, you can't arrest me, for example. And therein comes this new anti-LGBTQ law, which seeks to criminalize something that, say, if I was doing now, why? Okay, I think they're taking out the part of advocacy.
Yes.
So you can't, arrest me for that. Until that law has come into force, I think the reminder should be that you cannot go about harassing people, beating people, harming them because of their inclinations. No. You might feel very strongly about your own religious beliefs.
Yes.
But also, we live in a secular state. Remember that not everybody you interact with is Christian. So you can also be like, well, the Bible says, maybe I don't believe in that. Maybe I'm a traditionalist who doesn't have, a Christian background. So also that respect has to be there. True. Until a law has been passed that criminalizes identifying as such, I think if somebody is even advocating, walking about living in their truth, you have to allow for that. And as a society, we know that we're hypocritical in many ways.
Yes, definitely.
There are many people who identify as that. They're in your family. They're in your
There are
workplace.
many people who identify as that in the closet, where they
Yeah.
present that they're not, but behind the scenes
Yeah.
are doing that.
Yeah.
And you're right when you say that if it's a personal choice, which it's not necessarily, you know, hurting anybody, then we cannot criminalize it as they've done in Uganda, correct?
Yes, in Uganda.
Right? Even if you identify, just come out and say, I identify as part of being as being part of the LGBTQ, you
Yeah.
can be arrested. In Nigeria, I believe it's being caught in the act.
In the act.
And I
Oh,
believe
okay.
this policy or bill that they're trying
Yeah.
to pass specifically is about being caught in
So,
the
well,
act.
well, this one goes a step further. It includes advocacy. If somebody, it might cause mischief. Somebody believes that you, Sika, you're involved in it, they can go to the police station. I believe that you are involved in this.
With evidence, I hope?
Yeah, of course there has to be
I'm
evidence.
sure they
should
have
have
to.
evidence.
I
So
don't
it boils
think,
down
yes.
to that. I mean, there are a lot of personal choices that people make that I personally don't believe in. You know, people choose to do so many things. I don't know if I can, I can drop what it is, but I cannot, you know, take the law upon myself and decide to cause harm to the person just because I believe that the personal choice, which is everybody's right, is something that I don't believe in.
Yeah.
So
I think also the part of the whole speech that, you know, got people a bit wild was the fact that when he mentioned after everything it comes on his desk and he will do something about it. It sort of, you know, put down the power of the parliament, you know, the executive. So it felt like whatever they decide, once it comes to me, I am going to accept it. That is how it sounded. So even
As
if
in
you saw,
he's going to make the
yes,
final
he's
call.
going to make the final call.
Which is what our constitution allows for. He has the
Well,
ultimate
definitely.
power to assent to the
Yeah.
bill. So even in Uganda, where the bill has been passed, that's step one. After a bill has been passed, it goes to the president, to assent to it, and then it becomes law. So that's what the president's saying. Well, they can deliberate, they can pass the bill, but after
But
that
he
is
puts
passed,
that final
he's the
signature.
one who's going to put that signature and bring it into law. Even I operate within those. Even though I have very radical views, I live in a society with rules and norms. If I step outside of those rules and norms, I have to deal with the consequences. And sometimes even talking about LGBTQ and accepting that, that comes with its consequences. Some of you watching that, I know you're itching. This is you. For the comment section. By the way.
Use the hashtag.
Exactly.
Use the
Go and do that.
hashtag.
Go and do that where you came from. I know you're itching. Keep it coming. We love the engagement. It keeps us thriving and going. It keeps us young. Get it.
In fact, the things that you are doing
If
behind
they pass the adultery bill, if they pass the adultery bill, the prisons are going to be so full.
if they pass the
There'll be no
pornography, bill, dear, we're all in trouble. We're all in trouble. So let's
pornographic bill,
Yes.
adultery bill,
Yes.
don't lie bill,
Yes.
corruption bill,
Hey.
we'll have no space in the prison.
So let's not be the ones to judge. Let's
Thank you.
leave judgment in the hands of the Lord. What we have been told is to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. That is a commandment of God, and that is what we should do, regardless of whether we do not believe that the next person or the morals of the next person are those that conform to ours. So let's just love and leave the rest to God. And I don't know. I think we've had.
Honestly, this topic has brought, you know, different sides of Sika and all the
Corruption
vocab and
bill.
everything, all the bills that is.
I mean, listen, we've been looking for equal representation. Again, the UN says it'll take women some, 130 years to catch up to the same levels of,
Honestly, we're not even ready for
power
that
as
conversation,
men.
to be honest.
That gender bill has been in Parliament. It's been waiting and waiting
But
and
other
waiting
things just keep
and
coming.
waiting.
Cathedral.
Ready.
Oh,
This,
oh,
that.
Oh,
Helen,
come on.
please, let's go for break.
You know what, guys? At this point, we have said the most that we can, but if you have your views, if you have your comments, just make sure you're using the hashtag, the Ladies Circle. Definitely, we can, you know, also tap into your knowledge and then see what you were thinking. But right now, we're going for a break. When we come back, the conversation still continues. Please stay with us.